Lil Tjay appears to be recovering. He's still in the hospital, but they say he's awake and he's talking. That's the good news. What's the bad news? We'll talk about it. Welcome to Escaping the Echo Chamber. Lil Tjay is a rapper, and now let me be clear. I'm an old head. I wasn't familiar with Lil Tjay, and that's one of the things that's starting to piss me off. I'm starting to get pissed off that there's these young cats out there that are talented, because I listened to some of his stuff and I'm like, wow, this dude's got some talent. He's talking about some topics, and he may not be having a perspective that everybody appreciates, but I get it. I get when these young cats is talking about issues that they're seeing around them and that they're immersed in, that they're expressing their emotions, the way they feel about it, the things they see, the problems, and not always having the best answer to deal with it. But I appreciate that ability for them to showcase their perspective of the world through their art. The fact that in order to hear about these young cats, it's becoming more frequent that they've either been shot or even worse, killed, in order for me to hear about them, that's really becoming a problem. Correction, that's really already a problem. It shouldn't take some young cat getting shot for me to finally be like, oh wow, now I hear about them. Now I'm seeing people talk about them because they're dead, because they've gotten shot, because they're in a coma. This is ridiculous. Now, yes, in terms of finding music and curating music, I don't follow the radio stations because they have a habit of promoting some talentless hacks like one we're about to talk about, 6ix9ine, who decides to respond to Lil Tjay's getting shot with laughing and like celebrating him getting shot. 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine's a snitch ass. 6ix9ine's a rap bastard. And should anything ever happen to him, watch how many people are laughing about that. You have individuals like that get bigged up. So it's hard to find the talent, but this is definitely not the way I want to find the talent. I don't want to find these talented young brothers out there that are expressing themselves through their art because something bad has happened to them. But that's just part of the story, because there's something else. There's something else about how he got shot and what happened to him. So it was attempted robbery. He had the chain on. These guys, there's talk that he may have been set up, but fortunately, somebody on his team was armed. They shot back. This is the part that really is pissing me off. This is aside from him being shot being bad news, the fact that one of his partners who shot back, who was defending their lives, is also in custody. Now, he got shot. That's bad enough. But he was arrested. You see, this is a problem. When young black men are unable to defend themselves and protect their lives, that's a problem. But that's a problem that isn't being talked about, isn't being discussed, and is being completely ignored, because even with the Supreme Court expanding the gun permitting rules in New York State, guess what happened? Almost immediately, Kathy Hochul and her goons came together and decided, we're going to make this law do everything we can to restrict this law as much as possible. That's what these scumbags have done. Seeing black men get arrested for protecting themselves isn't a problem for these scumbags. But this is one of the cases, this is just one of the cases that clearly demonstrates we need to address this. Like, aside from the war on drugs, the war on guns is not in our best interest and cannot be allowed to stand. Disallowing young black men who, just like the rest of us, who could be living in conditions and in neighborhoods where there are some out there that are goons, that are wolves, that are looking to take whatever somebody else got. We need to protect our rights to protect ourselves. That cannot be allowed to stand. And so, good to see Lil Tjay breathing again. Not breathing again, but talking again, awake and conscious. There needs to be some focus on his friend that was trying to protect them. The man that was trying to protect them, that had a gun, clearly he needed the gun. Clearly he needed the gun, and he used the gun to protect them. But yet, he finds himself in custody and looking at charges. And the fact that Antoine Boyd and Jeffrey Valdez both were charged. So both of his friends, two of his friends that were with him, were both charged with unlawful possession of a weapon, despite the fact that they clearly needed weapons to protect themselves and their friend. This is unacceptable. And enough people aren't talking about this aspect of the case, and I think this is one of the most important aspects of the case. Now that the good news is Lil Tjay is alive, is recovering, and it looks like he's going to be okay. We've got to do something about charging young black men who are trying to protect themselves. That's a problem, because the characteristic descriptions of whenever a young black man is found with a gun is to portray him as a thug and a criminal and a bad guy, when in fact he could just be trying to protect himself. And in many cases, these young black men are just trying to protect themselves. But right now, we're living in a climate where they want to pretend like we do not have a right to protect ourselves. That cannot be allowed to stand. As always, don't forget to hit the thumbs up, like, share, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. But if you disagree with me, and if you say no, you should just trust in the law and let the cops protect you, give me a thumbs down, and then state in the comment section how long it's going to take the cops to respond when somebody's got a gun in your face. I'll see you next time.